Hello, everybody. This is Artie Astor from Artie Astor Music, but I'm doing an installment of B sharp and C. And I have really struggled with the idea of getting back into doing this show, but I feel like it's something that I love doing. I love talking about music, and I feel as though that's always been something that I really appreciate is to just analyze a song, analyze maybe even just a part of a song, and then have some nice discussion about it. At any rate, I wanted to do a video of this guitar solo by Prince, uh, doing the song While My Guitar Gently Weeps. Now, he has done a lot of work. Obviously, he's not with us anymore, sadly, but throughout his stellar career, he has dabbled in a lot of different things, a lot of different genres. He's a multi instrumentalist. Um, I mean, I can go on and on about the raw talent that he has, but also the fearlessness that he has. And I think that when you're a musician, no matter how shy you might be in real life, you almost become better the more daring and fearless you get because you take chances that perhaps you wouldn't take in other areas. And I've seen Prince do some performances that I was like, why did he do that? Um, but that's not the case here. So this is a famous guitar solo that he did um, way back when. I forget which year it was. This was a 2021 remaster of it. Um, he does this guitar solo on the song While My Guitar Gently Weeps. And just about, I don't know, if I were to ask 100 Prince fans what their favorite guitar solo of his is, they would say it's this one right here. So give it a listen. I'm going to pause it a couple times, but I do agree that it is a very amazing guitar solo. My reasons might be different, but at any rate, here it is. All right, so right away, he starts off with some excellent vibrato. He comes in hard on that first note, so the guitar solo, kind of like something David Gilmour does in a lot of his guitar solos. The guitar solo just kind of starts off with a scream, and it's your attention is drawn right to the guitar when you hear that. And I love how he does that. Great vibrato. He's playing a Telecaster here. Um, Great vibrato, great notes, great note choice, I should say. He does a really great job as well following the chord changes, which I think is kind of cool because uh, sometimes you can get lost in, I just want to play with raw emotion, that your focus is on the tone and the inflections and maybe you're bending and things like that. And you're not necessarily mentally processing where you are in the song, but he follows the chords really well. You hear that? So the so he went from one chord to the other, maybe like a one to a four. I don't know. I don't know exactly. My ear isn't that good, but he followed the chord changes, right? And he probably practiced this beforehand because it looked like something that he did one riff and then kind of did the same riff, but in the in the key of the chord change, So just kind of listen. So you see right there, he did the so it was a very similar type of riff when the chord when it was the one chord, and then it was the similar type of riff when he switched to the four or the five. So it just goes to show that and this is something that I've always done whenever I'm playing saxophone. If I know that the chord is changing and I do a riff in a certain chord, and in my head I'm like, oh well, okay, I've done this riff in this chord, but I've also done it over the other chord. If you know ahead of time, it's a lot easier to do the riff, and that's exactly what he did there. I'm not saying he wasn't improvising. I'm saying he went into the song with his eyes open, and there's a difference. The best improvisers in the world still have some type of foreknowledge as to what the platform is that they're playing in. It doesn't mean that they can't just jump into a song and go completely hog wild and sound good. It just means that they would prefer to have some type of foreknowledge. It's almost like if you're going to give a public speech or a public talk, right? You might not know exactly every single word you're going to say, but isn't it nice to know the points that you want to make? Right? And then you get to those points differently. And that's what he's doing here. He knows the outline of the song. He knew it ahead of time. You can tell by the way he's playing. He knew it ahead of time, but he's still freely expressing himself within the confines of the song, within the structure of the song. But that is a better way to improvise because you you play with the song. You're not playing over it, if that makes any sense. Something that Prince does that I love is he has great optics, you know? So like things that he does with his body and things that he does with the guitar while he's holding notes and while he's playing certain things, um, I think is one of the reasons why Prince stands out as such a good guitar player as well. Like a Steve Vai, who kind of has great optics. You're watching him, but you're also listening to the guitar. But it's a Steve Vai show. You're watching Steve Vai. He's an actor. He's a performer, and that is exactly what Prince does. I mean, he employs a trick that sometimes new guitar players do, right? But he does it masterfully. He does it looking good, and it sounds good. And that's something funny too. That trick with the open string and kind of like going on the seventh fret and banging the fifth fret and banging the ninth fret, just kind of in between the open string. Um, yeah, it's a trick that a lot of people learn, but it's still musical. Just because it's a trick doesn't make it bad. I love it. All right, so the past 20 seconds, the last 20 seconds that we're playing, he wasn't really, that's what I love about Prince. He wasn't necessarily doing anything mechanically or technically out of right field, right? Where people were, even guitarists would be like, whoa, how did he pull that off? Um, but you, a guitarist that wants to reach people's hearts doesn't do that all the time. Now you can. There are very cerebral guitar players out there who just go completely nuts and they do a 2 hour show and it's all technique and mechanics, right? And guitar nerds like that. I mean, heck, I like it. And I'm more of a sax nerd than a guitar nerd, but I like it. But just what he's doing there, let me go back. Just those bends. So this is where Prince shines. I mean, this is where he shines. He's good at going up and down the fretboard and sounding good. And he's not necessarily playing any crazy riffs or phrases or anything like that. He is playing notes within the scale, but he's kind of doing things to the guitar to get different sounds out of it while looking good, just the optics of the whole thing. And of course, um, adding emotion to it. And someone watching that, for the most part, a song like this, you're not going into it thinking, oh, please, kill me with your mechanics. It's a very emotional song. Just the title of the song, While My Guitar Gently Weeps, right? We're looking for emotion along with the melodic beauty. And that is exactly what Prince is doing. Essentially, I hate to sound, almost kind of corny, but he's making his guitar weep, which is perfect for this song. Falling back into the audience was awesome. Just awesome. I'm assuming that was planned because if he did that, if he did that, no one was there to catch him. It would be funny. Prince has fallen off the stage multiple times. He was a very, I don't know the right word, not just dynamic, but bombastic performer. And there are times I've seen him jump onto a pole to try to ride the pole, but the pole was a prop, and then the thing just fell and landed into the audience with him still attached to it, right? So, but I'm assuming that was planned. Um, but it's weird because he's a musician's musician. He turns around, he faces the other musicians while he's playing. They're loving it. I mean, this is someone who, like I said before, he is essentially fearless, right? I mean, he's facing some amazing guitar players and amazing musicians and songwriters, and he's turning around and kind of showboating, right? But he's performing even for them, which I think this is why Prince was head and shoulders above um, other artists. That just really goes to show how talented he is, but you could say he throws all caution to the wind and performs kind of like a Jimmy Page or Jimi Hendrix, where he just kind of does stuff. But I think he's a little bit more polished than that. Prince will throw caution to the wind and just do stuff, but he seems to be careful not to go too far out of his comfort zone. And I'm not saying that he's a cautious player. I'm saying that he knows how far he can go out of his comfort zone to still sound semi-polished. Whereas if you look at some old Jimmy Page stuff, there are times he's not even playing in the right key when he's improvising. He's just going completely nuts. Same thing with Jimi Hendrix, right? They would just kind of go completely crazy. Neil Young is another one who just doesn't care. He'll do a 7-minute guitar solo, not necessarily even try super hard to keep it within the same key, right? Prince is not like that. Prince is going to take it to the point of that it looks like he's losing control, but he never really does. And I think that's one of the reasons why he was so exciting to watch. I like how he goes down an octave to end it on a lower register. That's nice. I like that. Stevie Ray Vaughan does that a lot, where you just kind of hit a note and then you just slide up the neck, but you're really sliding down as far as tone goes, right? You're sliding down. Um, and the way Stevie Ray Vaughan did it was almost like a gunshot going off or something explosive, right? He had really thick gauge strings. He played a Fender Stratocaster instead of a Telecaster, and Stevie Ray Vaughan just did it differently. He had different fingers, right? So it was just done differently. But I still like the way Prince does it, right? It still has that same feel to it. The tone of the guitar, the sound of the guitar is a lot different. But he loves doing it, just sliding up and down the fretboard. But he's playing notes while he does it. He's not just doing it for optics. And I've seen a lot of that. I've seen guitar players do stuff, and then their fingers or their hand slides up and down the fretboard, but they're not playing anything. They're just doing it because they realize it looks good and people like seeing it. But Prince says, okay, I'll do it, but I'm going to make sure I'm actually sliding from one note to another, or that I'm doing something musical, right? And that's what he does. I don't know where that guitar landed. he, he threw the guitar. So it looked like he threw it into the audience. If that's the case, I hope no one got a concussion. But anyways, so that is the famous Prince solo, right? Of him doing "While My Guitar Gently Weeps." Do I think it's his best guitar solo? I think it's definitely up there in top five as far as solo and performance. Do I think, and I'm going to be completely straight up, and people might disagree with me on this, do I think he just went up there and winged it? Because there are fans of Prince who say, look, melody just poured out of him. He was so natural, he just went up there and played that. I don't think for a second, there's not a part of me that thinks that he just winged it. You know, I think he was given uh, an outline, I guess you could say, of how the song is supposed to be. I think that he knew very well that he had many minutes to solo, right? And more than likely, in his studio, he probably played that song maybe 10 times a day, going over the things that he could do, because this was a gigantic opportunity for him. Um, I mean, not like he needed it because I mean, Prince is Prince. I mean, in the 80s, he was a huge star, and through the 90s and 2000s, Prince is Prince. I don't think I need to explain anything to anybody of how amazing the guy was, right? But being amazing doesn't just come naturally. He put tons of work into his music. I mean, he practiced those instruments. He understood chords, he understood scales and modes and how things worked with one another. He understood the mechanics of the guitar. He knows that if you playing a D and you bend up two frets, now you're playing in E, right? Like he understands all that super well. But not only that, he wants to go into something at least having an idea as to what it is he can do. And I wouldn't doubt it one bit if he practiced this song a couple times a day before he got up there and did this amazing guitar solo. I don't want to ruin the image for anybody, but I would say, as someone who loves to improvise, I would say that yes, there was some improvisation there, but I believe he had a lot of tools in his toolbox and he just pulled them out one after the other at certain times. Oh, okay, we're starting over again with the chord progression. Well, you know what? Maybe that riff that I practiced at home I could do. And then he went ahead and did it, right? I don't think he just got up there and said, I'm just going to play this song, having never heard it. never practiced, never rehearsed. That doesn't even sound like Prince. Prince was a hard worker, like one of the hardest working musicians out there. I don't, I would bet my life savings that he practiced this song at his home studio a bunch of times before he got up there with this crowd because in his mind, he wants to make sure the crowd gets a good show. Being a good performer, being a good musician, and being the stellar hard worker that he was, that's more than likely what went through his mind. Let's give these guys a good show. And in order to do that, you have to prepare. Enough of that. I just wanted to do an episode of B sharp and C. It's been a long time. I haven't done one. So I thank everyone for paying attention, and I'll see you next time.